Live from Sin City, it's the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. And now, here's the star of the show, Diet Dr. Griffin!
This is Diet Dr. Griffin back with another episode of the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. We are at the World Series, man. How's it going, Shane?
Freddie. That's how it's going for me right now.
Yeah. Well, for context, the reason that Shane is going Freddie is because Freddie Freeman in game one hit a monster grand slam to finish the game off in extra innings.
Oh, it was absolutely majestic.
Yeah. People are calling it one of the all-time World Series moments. They're echoing back to when Kirk Gibson was hobbling around the bases when he hit his home run. Can you believe? I don't know if you've seen the footage. I've seen clips of Kirk Gibson. He has got, he looks old, withered, and tired. He's got like a receding hairline and everything.
Probably smoked a pack of cigarettes and drank a couple beers before the game.
Yeah, he was 31 years old in those photos.
Yeah, I know.
You look at Freddie Freeman, he looks like this jovial little kid, and Freeman's like 35.
Yeah, people age differently back then.
Yeah, it's a completely different story.
I did watch so when people started referencing Kurt Gibson, I did watch the clip of it, and yeah, dude, they're just full. I mean, Freddie seems like that 5 days was good for him. He's hobbling. He's kind of like more like chugga, like a choo-choo train. But Gibson was basically just hopping on 1 foot around the bases. So.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics of Gibson's injury. I don't think it was an ankle injury. I think it was something else.
Yeah.
At the time. And I think that was the only at-bat he had in that World Series, too. So
that I don't know, but yeah, that would make sense, honestly.
Yeah, and that was on the 1988 World Series. And unfortunately, this week, we lost Fernando Valenzuela, who happened to also be on that 1988 World Series winning team.
Yeah, he didn't pitch because of a shoulder issue, but yeah, he was on the team, though. So
yeah, I mean, he was with the Dodgers pretty much from the entire decade of the 80s through 1990. He was on that team. And man, that guy had an amazing rookie season, and the first few years of his career, he was an amazing pitcher.
Yeah, he's the only rookie to win both the Cy Young and the Rookie of the Year in the same year, right?
Yeah, and I believe 1980 may have been the weird strike shortened year.
Okay.
There was a year in the 80s where they had like labor disputes. I think 81 was it.
Yeah, 81. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so he led the National League in strikeouts and innings pitched.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, as a rookie, he was just filthy. But when you look at his stats, it doesn't look like it's that impressive. Like a 2.48 ERA to a 104 WHIP.
Yeah.
At 180 strikeouts over 192 innings. Like, if you put that on a fantasy league today, you would not be overly impressed with that.
Yeah.
But the way that he started and the fact that he had 11 complete games and 8 shutouts.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible.
He had 8 shutouts, and yet the Dodgers couldn't score enough runs to help him win more than 13 games. It's ridiculous, but he was also the Silver Slugger that year too as a pitcher.
So this is the crazy part, is that he was like a really good hitter, like for a pitcher.
Yeah, he won the Silver Slugger twice.
Yeah. And his nickname was El Toro, the Bull.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's just one of those guys that just pitched so many innings that he just kind of wore his arm out. I'm looking at his baseball reference page. He, in 1982, 285 innings, 257 innings, 261, 270.
Jeez, that's crazy.
269, 251. And then by the time he was 27, 28, he just kind of
Yeah, can't
lost
throw anymore. Yeah.
lost his form, and he just kind of gradually, went downhill from there. And he struggled throughout the 90s, but he was around. It's unfortunate because I think he was probably on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and I suspect the injuries in '88, as you said, kind of started catching up to him at that point. That's when he started
Yeah.
going down in innings and just wasn't the same again after that.
I mean, he was inducted in 2014 though, so he still made it. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, he doesn't. Well, maybe in the Dodgers Hall of Fame. He's not in the actual Hall of Fame.
It says Baseball Hall of Fame right here, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. So
Well, I mean, I'm looking at his baseball reference page. He doesn't have that little gold bar or whatever that all the Hall of Famers do.
oh, it's Mexican Baseball Hall of Fame. There it is. So
Yeah, definitely Mexican baseball Hall of
okay.
Fame. And
Yeah.
he was such a beloved figure among the Mexican community, and he's likely a reason why the Dodgers have such a robust fan base among the Latin community down there.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. So
Yeah.
he was a screwball pitcher too, arguably the best screwball pitcher. So
Yeah, he was a tremendous pitcher and had one of the all-time rookie years
yeah.
for any player.
Check this out. In 1986, he signed the then largest contract in baseball history for a pitcher at $5.5 million for 3 years.
Wow.
Now we got Shohei Ohtani at like 10 at 700 million or something crazy like that.
We can thank A-Rod and Scott Boras for basically ramping up contracts for 10 to 20 years when he signed that move. But that's a conversation for another day. Let's get back to the World Series because
speaking of pitchers, I think you have something to complain about. So
well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But okay, let's just get there now because
I knew you wouldn't be able to resist that.
It's a contentious issue between us. Okay, Nestor Cortes. Okay, I don't even have a problem with Nestor Cortes. Like I want to make that clear. I don't have.
I never thought you did. I want to make that clear too.
Yeah. So Nestor Cortes was the pitcher who was out there. For context, he was the pitcher who gave up the home run to Freddie Freeman that cost the Yankees game 1. They also lost last night, so they're down 2-0 going back to New York.
Yeah, but they made it really exciting. I mean, Alex Verdugo just waved goodbye at that slider too. That was tough to watch.
And Aaron Judge is now a meme that people are using when you don't want to show up to something. You just text them a photo of Aaron Judge, and it's like, what does that mean? It's like, I'm not showing up.
That's awesome.
So let's get back to Nestor. Nestor has been injured for the entire Yankees playoffs run. Mm-hmm. He had a flexor strain in his pitching elbow. Flexor strain is more like your kind of a forearm area, but it's related to your pitching mechanics. Yeah. And generally speaking, forearm injuries are precursors to elbow and Tommy John issues. So
UCL,
definitely. UCL, which is the ligament in your elbow that all the pitchers get replaced when they get Tommy John surgery.
Yep.
So Nestor had been injured for at least the last 5 weeks, hadn't pitched anything. All been off the playoff roster the entire time.
Yep.
They bring him back for the World Series.
In replace of my boy John Birdie. No, John, no.
I thought Birdie had a hip flexor issue, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, and that's why they made the move, but still. So
yeah, I mean he's hurt too. Yeah. The thing is that he's not. I firmly believe, and people that have talked on other podcasts and stuff that I listen to have said he's still hurt. Flexor strain injuries just don't magically heal up like this. If it was the regular season, he might be trying to throw on a mound in the part of the rehab process. But for some reason, he was able to convince the front office to put him on the roster. I have no idea why.
Booney seemed pretty confident in interviews about it too. So
yeah, I mean, Well, I mean, of course, he wants to play in the World Series, and I don't blame the guy, but he's also got a pending free agent, and I'm like, this could go horribly wrong for you too, and cost you millions and millions of dollars. But okay, fine. You
Yeah,
want to go play
if
in
we
the
don't see him again in the series, then I think it probably did cost him millions of dollars. So
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him, quite frankly, again in the series.
yeah,
Um,
I don't
but
know. Over under on if we'll see him again in the series.
I mean, I thought that he would show up early in the series too. I just
Yeah.
didn't think they would put him in a game critical situation.
I mean, what people aren't talking about too is you could have also just sent Luke Weaver back out there, who had only thrown 19 pitches at that point in time. So
Yeah, you could have sent Luke Weaver out there. You could have sent Tim Hill out there, who has been very effective
yeah,
in the series, in the previous series, who wasn't injured. And quite frankly, like I just think it's mind-numbingly stupid of the Yankees to have done this move, not just to put him in the game, but to even have him on the roster when he's clearly still hurt. Like, as a front office, you need to exercise enough common sense to when a player's coming up to you and saying, "Hey, I want to get out there and pitch," that, and the front office needs to say, that's great. We love that attitude, but you're not healthy. How if you're not going to be effective out there? And I was
yeah,
literally texting Taylor that morning when they were announcing the rosters, and I said, Nestor's going to give up a home run, and I joked on the on the first hitter he's going to give up a home run, and
yeah.
honestly, it wasn't
Because
that
the
far
Yankees
off.
are your favorite team now. So
Yes, I know. Because I mean, I think about it like this as a Red Sox fan. I'm like, nothing is going to anger the Red Sox fans into yelling at ownership more than the Yankees win the World Series.
yeah,
But no, I'm rooting for the Yankees in part because I love Juan Soto. He's one of my favorite players personally. I love Juan Soto.
man, a
I'm-
hard guy not to like to and talk about showing up. So
and Stanton too. Stanton too is a
yeah,
guy who is like, and Stanton's a guy who's just really elevating his game. He wants to win a championship. It's hard not to root for the guy right now, and
yeah.
I'm rooting for all of those situations.
Well, and Jazz Chisholm is also playing like he wants to win the series too. I mean, he went and
Yes.
dug out that changeup like from the dirt, basically. So
Yeah, Jazz is playing up. Everybody's playing except for Judge right now. Basically, Judge is just struggling.
yeah,
But
and Verdugo. Yeah, but anyway,
Dougie's been a bad hitter for a while now.
yeah,
But he's going nut balls out with the defense. He's really
yeah,
trying.
yeah. He's flashing the leather, that's for sure. So
Yeah, I mean, he flashed excellent leather in the pitch that Nestor actually did okay with Otani. He basically grabbed it out of the stands.
yeah,
Made a
yeah,
heck of a catch.
yeah.
But then, they intentionally walked Betts. The second pitch that Nestor threw, he gave up a home run. So I really wasn't that far off on my projection.
Well,
I
so
thought,
I think when I watched that, I thought that he missed on the Otani pitch because that was like middle to middle up, like just a little
yeah,
bit, and Otani was just under it. The and then here's the reason why like I push back against this is the pitch he threw to Freddie was middle in on his hands, exactly where you want to throw that pitch, where he was probably trying to throw it to Otani, and Freddie was just ready for it and just rushed it, like got his hands in and everything.
yeah. I mean, look, Freddie. I want to give credit to Freddie for hitting the home run. Like, he did his job. My whole argument has been, I just don't think you just don't risk an injured pitcher in a game critical situation. Like,
Yeah,
you had healthy arms who had shown the ability to pitch. You had Luke Weaver still. You had Tim Hill. You could have thrown
yeah,
somebody else in that situation that wasn't making his first appearance since, and I think his first appearance in the entire month of October.
yeah. I mean, but still, the book on Freddie is to throw inside, and if they were going to throw a fastball inside, I mean, I think because that's where he was guessing or where his mindset, where he was looking for it inside and to be on time for the fastball. I don't think it matters who you roll out there if they're going to throw the same pitch. It just happens that he was injured, but I think the pitch was perfectly where he wanted it. I just think Freddie was looking for it. So
Interesting. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. because
Mhm.
I feel like this decision has cost the Yankees the World Series.
Oh,
I felt it after
I
game.
knew. I kind of knew you were gonna take it there too. Just make the whole series about Nestor Cortes.
I'm it's not about Cortez. I want to make it clear, like it shouldn't have been his decision to play.
Yeah.
Like the
I
owner,
mean,
the front office should
also,
have known.
I mean, you can also look at the fact that Oswaldo Cabrera comes in, and they didn't give him an error. It was ruled a base hit, which I agree with that official scoring, and I rarely ever agree with official scoring. And then you would have had two outs, and it would have been a totally different situation. But because he misses that ball after being pinch hit for Gleyber Torres, then you find yourself in that situation as well. So it wouldn't even have been him pitching had that play been made.
Yeah, I just think that it was just a horrible decision by the Yankees front office to even include a pitcher who's injured on a team. Like they couldn't find another guy somewhere on the 40-man roster that was at least not dealing with an elbow issue at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, maybe he's just a salesman and sold himself as 100% healthy because I mean, you looked at the post-game interviews and I know they're going to say the right thing on TV, but it looked like, Booney really believed that he was well enough to pitch. So,
Throwing a bullpen and being all shot up on Toradol and other stuff and having the adrenaline of playing in the World Series. I mean, look, Booney's a former player. He probably sympathized a bit more. It's Brian Cashman that needed to step up and say no on that.
yeah, you brought up an interesting point too. Like there's a football movie where this
Yeah,
is.
I was thinking about a movie called North Dallas 40, and I'm not sure if you have seen this movie or not. It's from the 70s, so it's an older movie, but I still think it's as relevant of a movie as there ever has been about football.
I think I'm literally going to watch it today because I haven't, and I looked it up a little bit before the show, and it looks really interesting. And the fact that the NFL refused to be a part of it because it was like too on the nose makes me even more interested. Plus, it was written by Gent or Gent or
I think it was Gant, I believe.
yeah.
It was written by
And
a
apparently the
former.
book is like way more dark and realistic than the movie even is. So
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a part in the movie, and it's mild spoilers. There's a part in the movie where Nick Nolte's character, he plays this aging wide receiver. He gets needles of shot painkillers and stuff to constantly play, but he's dealing with the pain of being hit out in the field all the time.
yeah.
And
There's
there's
also
this,
the Breakfast of Champions reference. I didn't realize that that's where that comes from. So
yeah. So there's this other player. This I believe he's a running back because they play similar positions, but I think he's a running back because he just looked a lot bigger than Nick Nolte did. Like he
yeah.
was a lot more built. He's got this hamstring issue, and he doesn't like getting needles. But the management of the team, they basically use Nick Nolte's character to kind of get him to take the needle. And so they're
Right.
at like the final game, and the running back's like, okay, I'm gonna take the needle. And then during the game, he's doing making a play, and he aggravates his injury because he can't feel the injury with the drugs that are in there. So
Yeah.
he's trying to play. He aggravates the injury and then fumbles the ball.
Mm.
And I kept thinking about like that because a lot of these players right now, and believe me, this is going on in baseball too. Pitchers are getting shot up with drugs.
Yeah.
Freddie's probably getting shot up with drugs right now.
I mean, so according to him, just let me be a Freddie apologist right now and defender. He's getting
I
like
mean, he
5
was only
hours
your
of,
first round draft pick this year. Let's be on the Freddie sympathizer wagon here.
apparently he's getting 5 hours of work and trying not to do it that way. So
Yeah. They're not gonna say the quiet part out loud. I mean, a ton of players in the NFL are getting Toradol shots before
yeah.
they play today, and some of them have already gotten them since we're recording after the first series started.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
going to be talking about it, but they're doing it because the
Yeah.
pain is just unreal.
Oh man, I mean, you can hear just the sound of them hitting each other sometimes. I'm just like, man, that's gotta that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, don't watch that movie if you're a football fan and like really, really enjoy it because it might change your perception of
Yeah.
of the sport. So my
Uh,
my feeling though, when relating to that, was
yeah.
that I mean, Nestor only threw 2 pitches in the game, but I was thinking like, you have a situation, you got a guy all jacked up on painkillers, like he probably isn't feeling it. He's got adrenaline going on.
Yeah.
Something was going to happen where he was going to make a mistake
Yeah.
as re-aggravate his injury. And that's the last thing I wanted to see for Nestor. I don't want him to
Yeah. Yeah. For
have
sure.
a torn UCL now and end up missing all of next year.
Well, and what he said in an interview too was that like he was like, yeah, I acknowledge the risk to the front office, and I don't care if I miss next year if I'm wearing a ring. Those are his words. So
Well, the front office doesn't care because he's a free agent and they're not going to re-sign him anyway.
yeah, exactly. And that's the cold, callous part of a business with
But at the
sports.
same,
And
I mean, I've heard front offices talk about that, but at the same time, it's like you have to have enough common sense to know, yeah, he's hurt. The odds of this blowing up in our face is much higher if you
yeah,
know
then it
he's
would be to
injured.
put in someone completely healthy. Yeah. And so on that part, I do agree with you.
Yeah,
So
and like, if let's say Booney had put in Tim Hill and Tim Hill, blew it,
yeah.
or people would be questioning, oh, you should have left Luke Weaver in, but like,
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. You're
well, at
exactly
the
right.
same time, it's like, okay, well, you know what? That happens. That happens in baseball.
Yeah.
You put the wrong pitcher in, you can second guess yourself all day long, but at least you put in somebody who was actually like healthy and pitching well, and you can make a rational argument. When
Yeah.
you go to a guy who hasn't pitched in a month with over a month with an elbow injury, a known elbow injury that isn't likely healed up,
Yeah.
that's a different level.
It is a different look. It does hit differently. Yes.
I feel like it cost the Yankees the World Series, and we haven't even gotten in to the fact that Shohei Ohtani left the game yesterday.
With it's his shoulder slightly popped out, is what they said.
Yeah, they're using the subluxation term
Yes.
for
Yep.
it, which is the same sort of thing Fernando Tatis was dealing with for ages.
Oh, geez.
Now, the thing is that his kept dislocating. That
Yeah.
was the thing, is it would keep dislocating, and then he eventually had to get surgery on it because the Padres basically, I think, forced him to get the surgery after
Well,
all
and that's
the
what
things he
happens
was doing.
too. Yeah, my brother dislocated his shoulder, and he's dislocated it like subluxation once, but like actually dislocated it a second time as well. And what he was saying is it gets easier and easier as the more times that happens. So
Yeah, I mean, just look at Mel Gibson at Lethal Weapon 2, Please tell me you've seen that movie so we know what we're talking about.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's
Don't
this.
worry, Griffin. It's
Okay,
okay.
okay. Good. All right. So there's the whole scene when he's like at the police station in the straitjacket, and he's he's making a bet with the guy, and like he's trying to get out of the straitjacket, so he dislocates his own shoulder and then
Yeah.
gets out of the straitjacket, and then pops it back in and starts yelling at the camera. "Ah!"
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's kind of the first thing that my brain went to was when I found
It was
dislocated
Shohei,
shoulder. Yeah.
He just turns to the camera.
So I don't know if it's too soon to know right now at 10 in the morning on Sunday what Shohei's status is going to be for game 3. But if he misses any time with
Yeah.
this or becomes ineffective while he's trying to work through the injury, it could have an impact that could help the Yankees get back into it. My concern with the Yankees is that I just don't think they're going to be able to out hit the Dodgers 4 out of 5 games.
The other thing too is not talking about being out hit, but also like the Dodgers when they need a hit, get the hit. And
Yeah.
it seems like the Yankees when they need the hit, they wave and miss at sliders and changeups. So
Yeah, there's been a lot of bad swings and misses, and particularly by Judge.
yeah,
I think
he's been chasing that slider too. I guess like in batting in BP before game 2. Like that's all he looked at the whole entire batting practice, and he's still chased on that one outside the zone. They went 0 for 3 too.
yeah, he's
Almost a golden sombrero. So
he's clearly, I think, pressing at this point. I
oh,
mean,
absolutely, which is not helping. So
yeah, the only thing I can think that the Yankees really need to do is watch the comeback, which we're gonna have to review at some point.
yeah,
After
okay,
the World Series, the comeback is,
yeah.
of course, the story about the 2004 Boston Red Sox who came back down from 3-0 to beat the Yankees in the ALCS.
Oh my God, that was glorious. Absolutely glorious.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it live as it happened, so
Yeah.
I didn't watch the comeback yet, but I mean, I knew the story, I knew everything that was going on because it was unreal.
Yeah. If you look at the Dodgers lineup, they're getting production out of not the big 3. So like Mookie, Shohei, and Freddie Freeman, like the contributing people around them are hitting better than the contributing people around the big 3 on the Yankees. And one of the big 3 isn't even hitting. So
Yeah, and the Dodgers have a lot more World Series experience on that team. They have a lot of
yeah,
veterans that have been there. I mean,
yeah,
guys like
Mookie
Will
Betts. So
Mookie and Will Smith and Muncy and Kike. They
yeah,
have a lot of guys who have been in those big moments.
yeah.
Then they've just managed to collect guys like Tommy Edman, who has been tremendous for
Absolutely
them.
filthy. Like going from shortstop to center field, excuse me. So
He's been doing that his whole career.
yeah, just what a baller out there.
Yeah, they just got this collection of guys, even though like pitching staff has just been able to make things work. And Yamamoto pitched very well yesterday. He pitched,
Yeah.
I mean, he gutted
It's his
through.
first time making it into the 7th inning in over like a month at least.
Well,
So
he had been injured. He was one of the injured pitchers that came back for the end of the year.
yeah, no, yeah. And whenever the Dodgers are like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a bullpen day, I'm like, well, chalk it down for a win because they've been unstoppable.
It looks like game 4 is going to be the bullpen game too.
Yeah. So, and it's like they've won every single bullpen game they've thrown, and that one is supposed to be the one that you like lose. So,
Well, it's going to be Clark Schmidt versus Walker Buehler in game 3 on Monday night.
okay, so that's going to be their bullpen day.
Well, I mean, maybe Buehler actually pitched okay last time he did go out there. He
Yeah,
got
that's fair.
like 4 innings, I think, before he left, and that's about as much as you could ask for Walker Buehler at this point after coming back from 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So the official bullpen game's game 4.
Okay, gotcha.
So my question to you is, we both predicted, the Yankees going back to LA, but do you think that this series ends in New York?
Ooh, man. So
Given where we're at.
I've been thinking about this for a while, and I think I'm gonna have to. I mean, I'm like weirdly biased, unbiased at the same time because I actually want the Dodgers to win because I'm a West Coast kid and West Coast, best coast, and blah 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 blah. But I have to stand by my prediction of the Yankees in 7. I don't think they're gonna continue to be as unlucky as they've been. Eventually, it's someone's gonna step up in the big moment, and I think it's gonna turn around. How about you?
Before Shohei got hurt, I thought for sure the Dodgers would finish it in New York.
Yeah.
Now I think the Yankees may have a shot at getting it back to LA.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced this series is going to go past 6 games at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's fair if they don't win game 3, then I think it's over. So
yeah, they have to win. They have to win game 3. I thought last night was a must-win game, and
me too. I mean, we talked off air about it as well. So
they nearly did. I mean, They had the comeback going. Stanton and Soto did their thing, and Jazz had a great hit too. And I'm sorry, I have to say this as well. Why are you pinch hitting Trevino
I,
as the catcher spot?
yeah, I think they're just being overmanaged, a little bit. So
I know that the catcher was the guy hitting, but you didn't have another bench bat that you could throw out there in that game critical situation.
yeah, or just let Austin Wells. It's not like, I mean, catchers in general in the postseason bat, something abysmal. I think it's like barely above the Mendoza line, if not under it. But I mean, you just think the guy who's been in the game, seen what's going on, you just ride with that guy if you're gonna go with a catcher.
Yeah, I don't I have to look and see who was on the Yankees bench at that time, but I just did not think that like they should have pinched hit a catcher with another catcher.
Yeah.
That was my thing. I was like, oh, this thing's gonna not go well.
Yeah.
And man, when you hear people say Anthony Volpe and Derek Jeter in the same sentence, I almost just have to kind of laugh.
Throw up a little bit in your mouth. Yeah, that's that.
I'm not throwing up my mouth. I'm just kind of like, oh, wait, you're serious? Let me laugh
Yeah.
even harder.
Oh yeah, he started that slider at the edge of the other batter's box, and it broke all the way. I think he had to Will Smith had to get out of the crouch to catch that while he's swinging the bat at it. So.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't even. Talk about waving at a slider. That was a hello, good night, goodbye.
Yeah, the Yankees just need to dial it back on the sliders. Just kind of watch a couple of them and see if they actually go in the zone before they start swinging at. Just be a little more patient instead of being happy.
And kudos to Dodgers pitchers for recognizing that. And what I think it is so the Yankees drop game one in dramatic fashion. They go into game two and they're pressing a little bit because they want to bring it back 1-1.
Yeah.
And then I think you see a little bit of those swings that they normally don't take. Normally they're, in the zone swinging that's what got them to the World Series, was not chasing. So
yeah, we'll see what happens on Monday, but this is definitely the Yankees' backs are against the wall here.
Yeah, and not going the way that I expected it to go at
No,
all.
not the way I expected it to go either. I thought it'd be tied 1-1 going back to New York.
Yeah, I thought LA would look like the team that they were trying to come from behind, but honestly, right now they look like the favorite. So
yeah. So, do you have any closing remarks as we near the end of the show?
Yeah, so given the whole painkillers in the NFL and in professional sports, I was doing a little bit of research, and a 2011 study found that 71% of retired NFL players misused painkillers during their careers, and some continued to do so after leaving the league. And that to me is crazy.
It's one of the reasons I've had a harder and harder time enjoying and watching the NFL. These guys destroying themselves. And the NFL means not for long.
Yeah. And then spending a lifetime battling addiction afterward just seems hardly worth it. So
yeah. And on that downer note, we end the show today. Hopefully we'll have more positive things to talk about next week, as one way or another the World Series will be decided, because I believe Game 7 is going to be on Saturday. So we will have a new World Series champion, and we will start talking about the offseason and maybe go briefly over the awards, which are probably obvious at this point.
Yeah.
All right, well, see you guys later.
Bye now.